Hello there. I have a theory. Bear with me. Would not claim to be an expert or have any great level of understanding on this subject of mental health, really. In fact, I have dealt with it very, very poorly in my past. And I'm blessed and absolutely grateful to have not had the struggles of mental health myself, other than dealing with other people who are going through the struggle. And like I say, I think I've probably dealt with it very, very poorly. I've not had the understanding there to really be very useful in that situation. But I do have a lot of experience in exercise and training and movement. And obviously I deal with people and coach people every day. And people have moods and people have mental health issues. And people are different characters. So some experience relevant to the subject. But I can only speak of this from my own experience and my own practices. So it could be rubbish, could be fun. But I've noticed in myself, if I have a lazy day and I stay in bed too long and then don't bother to get dressed and spend all the time on my laptop, and doggy's sorted, his mum's going to take him out for a walk, and I just do a bit of programming and some work and make some calls and play PlayStation, have a coffee, and there's always regret surrounding that day. And quite often, if I'm off work the next day, it's like one day turns into two. And the longer I'm in that rut, the harder it is to drag myself out to go and do something physical. Despite the fact I generally love it. I love physical work. But sometimes you hit that rut. And you don't notice at the time, or I don't, but my mood just drops. It just plummets, absolutely plummets. Like, I'd consider myself quite an annoying optimist. Happy-go-lucky, glass is half full generally. But when I stop moving for a couple of days, 2-3 days, mood just, and then looking into the abyss going, how low can this go? And the moment I actually have to go and do something, so like, okay, doggy needs going out now, so I'll take the doggy out in the woods for a run. Bang, mood comes straight back up. It's like, okay, great. Or if I've dragged my ass to the gym and done some training, then boom, mood comes right back up. And then for some reason, there's drive there to then repeat that, to go and do some more. And kind of success breeds success. And because you're doing more, you have a little bit more self-esteem, sense of purpose, you feel much more productive. But like I say, you don't know at the time, you can't see your mood dropping. And I would imagine that any length of time spent in low mood could really have some adverse effects on your mental health. Right? Spend long enough in a bad mood and that could tip over, right? Is my feelings on the issue. So yeah, that's most of my own experience on how exercise has positively impacted my mental health. One of the first things I learned qualifying as a trainer many years ago, we were probably closer to 15-20 years ago than that I'm happy about. But one of the first things I learned was obesity is a natural response to an unnatural environment. And I've never been able to fault that. I've not found the exception to the rule. With all the mind-blowing theories I've ever heard that have been life-changing, changed my career, and kind of something that I think kind of makes me kind of an expert on the subject of fitness, I've always found a loophole. I've found an exception to every rule, but not that one. And that one's quite a mundane thing. It wasn't mind-blowing at the time. So if obesity is a natural reaction to an unnatural environment, it would make sense to me, and maybe there'll be professionals all over the world now, mental health professionals screaming, going, oh, you're so reckless, you shouldn't say that. And I hope that's not the case, but it makes sense to me that maybe depression specifically, not all mental health, but depression is a natural response to an unnatural environment, because we live in an outrageously unnatural environment and it causes us many problems, I believe. So although our environment might be really comfortable and really nice actually, compared to being cavemen. It is drastically unnatural. So we have information overload through screens, screen after screen after screen, like TV, phone, computer, tablet. Like it's all just screens, isn't it? Even our cars now, we have screens. And information overload, and it's not reality that we're seeing. It's somebody else's projection that we're seeing. It's unnatural for us to even have that much exposure to this many people in the world, this much information, this many ideas. And it is overload. The foods we eat are unnatural. Definitely won't go down there, that's huge, but even the natural foods we eat are mostly unnatural at the moment. Our sleep patterns are unnatural. We're waking up when it's dark, we're being rudely awoken by an alarm clock, we're maybe not getting enough sleep. We're not going to bed when it gets dark, we have unnatural lighting. It's not natural to us. Our body positioning. If you take chairs out of the equation, how often in real life do we see this position? In natural life, I should say. It's not often. We'd never be like this. Like, not even going to the toilet. If you take chairs away. Phones, this is not a natural position. We won't really ever see that in our natural lives. So this environment we live in is drastically unnatural. And what if our brain struggles so much to interpret what is unnatural to us, and it struggles to comprehend it and kind of adjust to it, to the point where we drop over into depression because we can't comprehend our environment. In my mind, that seems reasonable, and I hope it's not drastically inaccurate. But I'm going to apply it to this subject because it's where I really think movement and physical activity can help fight that. And it's because in evolution, one of the biggest part of our evolution is movement. We evolved to move how we move and be upright and walking like this. Without that, there's no reaching for foods, there's no starting fires, there's no running away from bears, there's no looking after our young, there's no making any young. So movement is absolutely fundamental and hardwired into our survival. So the body craves it. We need to move. Even moving itself creates warmth within us. I'm sure you know, if you kind of stand up and do 20 box jumps or 20 squat jumps, you'll be warm. So it's so hardwired. The body needs that movement. And I think that when we do start to move and do physical exercise and activity and go training and hit the gym and run through the woods, I mean, not to mention the natural outside environment, if we're running through the woods, it's going to help, and vitamin D and yada yada. But when we start to move, we are clawing back just some of what's natural to us. And it's a step away from what we're struggling to comprehend in all that's unnatural to us. And it's just walking back towards what the body knows, what the body wants, what the body loves. And if that little offset of what's natural versus what's unnatural, if that little offset is just enough to keep us on the right side of mentally healthy, then that's got to be a good thing. I think that's probably one of the biggest benefits of movement and physical activity that we can have in the fight against mental health, is the fact that it's a slight offset against everything that's unnatural. And I'm not a professional, and feel free to tell me this is rubbish, but I would recommend to as many people as possible, we're looking at mental health issues, is to try and get back to nature as much as you possibly can and see the positive impacts it will have on your mental health.